You are watching Scratch TV channel on YouTube.com.
Rock on, New York City. DJ Kool Herc, the godfather of hip-hop. And out of here.
Right now, sitting in front of us is the man who started it all. We have, you know, in different genres of music, we can go and talk to the Elvis Presleys. Well, we can't talk to the Elvis Presleys. They might want to talk to whoever started the blues. That person is gone. They might want to talk to the person who started reggae. That person is gone. But we are fortunate to have sitting in front of us the person who started this thing that we call hip-hop. The father of hip-hop, the one and only Mr. DJ Kool Herc. How you doing, sir?
Peace, man. I'm chilling, man.
You know, man, I remember you from way back in the 70s. I hate to go back that far. But the thing is, man, you still got the same build, man. How come you don't age, man? As the father of hip-hop, you supposed to be, you know, old and out of shape.
I said out the pasture.
So how have you managed to just stay in shape like this all these years?
Well, you know, you just got to take it. I've been down a rocky road, you know what I'm saying? I was out in the struggle, and that got me on the right track. And that's what people out in the struggle, they know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? To overcome it and don't be no hypocrite. And I've been on that, been on that road, man.
Did you ever think in your wildest dreams that we would be at this point in time with hip-hop where it is now? I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar-a-year industry. It's something that even the presidents of the United States has to acknowledge. It's everywhere you go. I mean, did you ever think that what you helped start or what you started was going to be where it is today? No. I'm doing it still for fun because of the love of it. I started it. We started it, me and my partners, you know, and people that rallied around me. And we started, but we never named it. And we never look at it like that we want to make money out of it. We're just enjoying ourselves with it, and a lot of our friends was enjoying what we put out. And that's been the same feeling I have right now. Still for the love of it. You know, one of the things I remember talking to you one time, and you were very explicit about saying, like, the records that you used to play were funk records. And maybe you can explain for everybody listening, you know, the connection between this thing that we call hip-hop and the important role that funk has played in the development and the furthering of hip-hop.
Hip-hop is a big family, like a gumbo pot. We never excluded nobody from getting in it, and we didn't know who the people that was behind it making it. We just picked up a black record, and music have no color. So we was worrying about who was the color the band made the record. It sounded good to me, it sounded lovely to me. Let me apply it to my audience. And over the years, the audience been loving what I've been applying to them. So I could if it was something on a rock record, and I feel it's funky enough, that's what be funky. If I hear something from a rock record that I could put in my repertoire, my format, I put it in there. If it's a Chinese record, got some little something I like in it, I'll put it in. It's just like you making a recipe and you try out little things to make it taste good. I tried different music, and my ears was trained from my father telling me that's a good bounce. You know, what good music sound like, or whatever reggae music was, it was. He defined that for me, because I didn't just grow up with reggae records in my house. I had other records from different parts of the world, especially from the United States. You know, so I was into Bing Crosby White Christmas before it became that world famous record. I know that record from back and forth, back of my hands on every word. You know, Ella Fitzgerald, Nat King Cole, that was his man. Nina Simone, you know, and Louis Armstrong. You know, you name it, man. We had it around in the house. Even Jim Reeves.
Man, you're naming off all kind of crazy names, man. You're going back there.
Jim Reeves. Okay, so I know it. So a lot of white people see me singing songs and say, how you know word for word? Because when I first got to the United States, that's what I was listening to. Cousin Busey and Wolfman Jack. It wasn't no BLS. I didn't know about no WRL. So I was into the Three Dog Night and Judy in the Sky, you know, and then what you are. And that record come from New Orleans, where jazz come from. Now I found that track be used over and over. Even to this day, somebody was stumbling and come up with one of them strange phenomenal record called the Okie Pokey, and you find out that doing that is a New Orleans type of thing, you know what I'm saying? But and just seeing people having fun, man. got into the Bronx, went to a club. First of all, it was a place called St. Joseph on Bathgate Avenue. I used to live like 4 blocks away, 178 on Bathgate, and it was a school. It was a church party, and then you have places like Murphy Projects over by the Cross Bronx Expressway. They give parties there once every Friday. First Fridays, and I'm gonna start getting, I say, more Americanized, more hip, and seeing how people reacting, dancing, and literally, I'm picking up the gripes from the audience. I'm out there and hear people, how come you don't have that record? Why you take it over right there before the other part come on? And I'm one of them. So I took that concept from the dancer's perspective behind the turntable. So I'm not behind the turntable trying to make it beat sound like the other beat or keep. No, I'm playing what we want to hear on the dance floor. And whatever it come in, I can bring it to my best of my ability. So I'm not no DJ. I became a DJ by doing what I was doing. I was the host of the party and the dancer that's behind the turntable playing for my dancing friend out there.
One of the interesting things, and maybe you could clarify this, we're talking with the father of hip-hop, legendary Kool Herc, or DJ Kool Herc in the house. There's the rumor that hip-hop started in the South Bronx. But you're not from the South Bronx, so yeah. So where did it start from? And talk about the importance of 1520 Sedgwick and Cedar.
Okay, South Bronx is a place that's beautiful. People live there, but the stigma attached to South Bronx, you think South Bronx is just whitewashed with hoes, pimps, hookers, and all that. Anybody mention 2 things out of Hunts Point that might come to people's mind and in the United States or wherever you hear the word Hunts Point is a produce market, or you hear hookers. But Hunts Point people live there, and I'm pretty sure they don't like it, and I'm not going to trample on them. You know what I'm saying? It only sounded more I say, dramatic saying South Bronx. Out of all of this thing called hip hop came from. But no else with the hookers and no. South Bronx have nothing to do with hip hop. It was in the Bronx, and hip hop started in the Bronx. Period. But specifically, hands down, is 1520 Sedgwick Avenue. That's where I live at.
And Sedgwick Avenue, that's in what we would call the West Bronx.
I'm gonna let you know exactly. Major Deegan Highway is not in the South Bronx. 180th Street Bridge is not in the South Bronx. Yankee Stadium is not in the South Bronx. And Sedgwick Avenue is the service road for the Major Deegan Highway, leads straight to Yankee Stadium.
Well, see, I'm from Soundview. So when where you guys were at, I would call it the Central Bronx, because the West Bronx would have been Riverdale and Kennedy and Marble Hill and all those areas. So you was like, to me, where I was sitting, you was in the middle of the Bronx, but you call it the West Bronx.
Well, really, some people might say the Grand Concourse separate East and the West. You go a little further, might say, okay, Jerome Avenue, geographically, with this, no, you're on the West side. You can't pass Jerome Avenue and say you're on the East. You know, so between Jerome Avenue is like 5 or 6 blocks apart before you really can say, I'm on the West side. Yeah.
Another interesting thing, and I remember when we was talking to you a long time ago, was the fact that you were one of the few people that could throw parties and keep the peace. Because if you remember back in those days, you couldn't go from one neighborhood to the next. You couldn't come from my neighborhood and maybe even go to Bronx River. If you was in Soundview without permission, you couldn't definitely come from your part of town to any parts of us without having any drama. So how were you able to do these early parties back in the early 70s at the height of all this gang stuff and keep the peace?
Because me and my friends, we wasn't suckers. We was men, we was friends, and we just had a little camaraderie amongst ourselves. And a lot of the gang bangers that wanted to become gang bangers, we knew them. They knew us. So we didn't have to, I say, prop up ourselves by putting any gang colors on our backs.
Your size didn't have anything to do with it?
No, didn't have nothing to do with it. I didn't never use brawn to get my point across, or intimidation, nothing like that. So what happened was a lot of those gang members asked us, five of us individually, to become division leaders, to be more stronger. And we just said, nah, we wasn't with it.
Who were those 5 friends? Who were these early friends that you used to hang with?
There's Mark Walters. He got Coke. He got Ronald Haley. And myself. And 2 other guys. But that was the main crooks of the West Side when you mentioned who's over there, you know? There's a few other people there, but that immediate, that was that right there. Coke, Ronald, and Mark.
Talking with the father of hip-hop, the man that we call Kool Herc. We also hear with my man Mark Skills. And, you know, Mark and you share similar backgrounds in terms of y'all go back and trace your roots to Jamaica. So he got some angles that he want to take on that so y'all can build, since y'all are countrymen. Is Jamaica a country or state?
That's a country.
I don't know, man. It's really a whole country by itself. All right, well,
that's a country.
Country, an island surrounded by the Caribbean Sea, 90 miles away from the equator.
Yo, Mr. Herc, it's an honor to be speaking to you, brother. Okay, first thing, one of the first myths I heard about you coming up was that when you first started to play, you was playing reggae. When you was playing in the park, whether you was playing in the rec room, what reggae records were you playing?
Well, at the time, it wasn't, say, some little bit of U-Roy, a little bit of Bob, but it wasn't constant because I wasn't playing for reggae artists. I'm playing for African American kids. They don't know nothing about no reggae, but my heritage, my background, I'm a Jamaican, so I never hide that. So when I want to hear some reggae music, I'm playing my reggae music because I'm going to come back to you in a few more minutes and give you what you want. And that's how I play my music. I got formats. So you're going to hear your music. And part of my format is giving people what they want. And along the way, I want to hear what I want to hear. Right. You know, so I take time out to give you what's yours and respect me for, you know, giving me mine. So it was never me saying forcing reggae on people. I'm a Jamaican. I never hide it, never will. But I'm in Rome. I do what the Romans do. So, you know, and it wasn't about me drumming it. I'm yaddy yaddy and all that. It wasn't about that.
Okay, so like back then though, I read somewhere that you were into Don Drummond of the Scatterlights.
That's my roots. Don Drummond's, U-Roy, Prince Buster, you know, guys called I King Stitches MC, you know, and Big U. And there were many more, man. I mean, Bob Marley was a youth coming up. I was a baby. He was like a youth. It wasn't Bob Marley and the Wailers wasn't ringing bells there. It was Barony and the Dragonaires, and a guy called Carlos Malcolm used to blow the horn. And I mean, big names, man. All them guys.
Did you and Bob Marley grow up in the same neighborhood? Because that's what Jeff was saying. Jeff Chang in his book.
Yes. We didn't grow up, but I live on 2nd Street over in Trenchtown. He lived on 1st, and I was go to a school called Central Branch, and in that neighborhood, my grandmother lived there, and there's an old theater called the Ambassador Theater. I used to go to a little school right across from the Ambassador Theater with a gully run right across to go down to the sea. So I live in Trenchtown, 2nd Street. I can take you right there if the yard of the block exists.
Let me ask you this: what is it about you guys coming over here from Jamaica? You know, or well, you guys, what is it about? Hold on. No. But no. What is it about you?
We're gonna try to repair it, all right? Come on.
Okay, so we're talking with Kool Herc. Hold this one. So we're talking with Father Hip Hop. So I'm saying that with affection when I say, what is it with you guys? But I'm saying that, you know, from the standpoint, y'all came over here from the Caribbean, and it seems like all the main people that really jumped off in various ways or contributed to really the elevation of hip hop, they trace their roots, you know, somewhere either to Jamaica, somewhere in the island, somewhere, you know, whether it's you, Flash, I think Bam has some roots. And then
I'm not in Jamaica. I'm not a Jamaican to be fashionable. I am a Jamaican. And now people want to jump on the bandwagon to call Jamaican now being it's popular, don't want to be, it's fashionable now to be Jamaican. I don't know about them cats, man.
Okay, I'm just making sure, because now it seems like everybody is jumping on it.
Yeah, monkey see, monkey do, follow fashion monkeys, that's all.
Okay. Let's switch gears here. Now, okay, during the time that you and your crew were playing out, there were several sound systems. No. The sound systems, the Jamaican sound systems were very prevalent in the tri-state area. Were you aware of those crews?
No.
And did they play with you at all in the clubs?
No, never.
So African Love, Downbeat,
But never was in the in a space that they was at. Or no.
no way, no shape, form, or fashion. Okay.
The names I could tell you for a sound system is on the U.S. side.
Okay.
That's the Smith Brothers, respect them. Soul Brothers, out of Brooklyn, Japan, Nell Gwyn's, respect them.
That's what I'm talking
I don't know if it's a Jamaican crew, but I know my Soul Brothers played Nell Gwyn's at 42nd Street.
Okay.
And you have brothers like Plummer, LaBoya, Flowers, and the Disco Twins. And their boys was really into technology of big, heavy sound. With me, I was just a guy who liked to hear my sound good, clear for my audience. I was not a fanatic engineer or that. I'm basically power, mid-range, and high. These guys could go into Triumph and all that. I'm a buy-in person. And my thing is, I'm simulating a band. I want a band effect. And this is a guy, I patterned, hearing everything else. I heard my sound is a sound system that was patented for a guy named The Amazing Burt. He was a student from the Bahamas and a student at Fordham University. And that grant money, he was able to buy he was able to tap into a new company called GLI.
Mixer.
No, GLI company beside Mixer, they had speakers. The whole thing, mixers, speakers, they made that. And that was the best sound I've heard. And I said, that's the sound that I want. It's clear.
That's interesting that you said that you patterned yourself after a band, because a lot of cats out here, without even knowing about New York, they inadvertently said that they were patterning it. Like E40 says that when he was doing his music, he was like trying to do a band, but they traced that all the way back to funk. So is it that funk influence again that made you think of it in terms of trying to get a sound to emulate a band versus a lot of cats coming with a whole different take on it?
No. This system in the Executive Playhouse, he had 4 speakers folded. Others happened to just afford at the time 2 of them. Okay? And he had two 20 or 2300 Macintosh. I only could afford 1. Okay? And he had 2 turntables. That's the top of the line turntable besides Technique. Technique would just come out the gate. So I've got me 2 Techniques 1100A. They don't make them no more. And a reverb. And their sound was...
So okay, that
it wasn't about, I didn't know about the funk carrier or nothing like that. I'm just hearing a sound system that could deliver the record. And if you outside that door, you think, because this club used to have a band play there. And that band used to hit him like for $100 a man or $150 a man. So now here come a guy you could give 200 to, hey. And then the sound system is powerful enough, you think it's a band in there. And that's how I look at it, and that's what I wanted. I was a guy, I'm so hot. This was the next thing I'm like, I'm playing with columns. And here it was like, it's like you drive a little Beetle Volkswagen and here come a Ferrari,
So the deal is, first of all, talk about you naming the sound system, right? Because, a lot of people thought the crew and it was actually the name of the sound system. But also, man, you used to spark fear. And maybe you could talk about some of those battles or some of those people who, that actually played up or tried to play up against you and just went home with their feelings hurt.
It wasn't too long they went with the feelings hurt in Bronx River. That right there, we battled Pete. Pete was DJ Jones. We had it wasn't even a battle. It was just telling my audience what you think you getting, and you try to disrespect it and all that. Let's see what the other side of the spectrum sound like.
Hold on a second.
DJ Jones.
Let's back up a second. When did you first come across Pete DJ Jones?
I think it's 75 or 76.
Okay. Now, Pete has told me personally that, okay, he was playing for the Midtown people.
Yeah, the bourgeoisies, the ones who graduated from the little house party. You grown now, you at your mama house, you putting on Pierre Cardin now, you know, you in Holston, you into Jordache and Sassoon era, you know what I'm saying? You down there. You down there, you know, where Frankie Crocker hang out at, you know, Nell Gwen's or what you call the other place? There was a big spot. Leviticus. Yeah, that's, you know, they would play a record for an hour. When I would play 6-7 records within that hour.
Okay, so Pete was playing for that crowd, and you were playing at the Executive Playhouse, the Sparkle, the Hevelo, and the Twilight Zone. Could you describe those kinds of clubs?
Those clubs, I'm playing Roy Ayers. I'm playing James Brown. I'm playing Mandrill. I'm playing obscure stuff, purely obscure stuff. I don't want no stuff, my stuff on. I'm not patting my stuff off the radar. I'm being my own person.
But I'm talking about like inside of the clubs. Like, were these weren't discos, right?
My place I'm playing at, this is the man in the street, the community.
So these were like community centers.
Some community centers, and the Twilight Zone was a club. It was a space, a club for entertainment. The Hevelo was a club. It was a bikers club. It was a bikers club called Soulsville. Then their neighbor, and why the name of Hevelo, called the man who owned the park side, his name was Bob Hevelo. So it's the man who I played for at the Hevelo that owned a club called the Soulsville, the biker club. This is where the girl named Teacher, the young lady who made West Side Story, she came out of there. Teacher Rivera, that was his biggest pride and joy. Teacher Rivera used to perform here before she hit it in the West Side Story.
Well, you were
Sal, God rest his soul. He was the first person to give me a break.
Word up, word up, word up, word up.
You are watching Scratch TV channel on YouTube.com.
And now, without further distraction, we move directly to the day's main event. And now,
You are watching Scratch TV channel on YouTube.com.